Hi, it's Randy Herman with Keller Williams Realty, bringing you everything real estate. And today we're going to be talking about being a landlord. And I have with me, happen to have a good friend, Dana Fogg. Thanks for coming, Dana.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, Dana, you do a lot of things. You're not only a landlord, you're an agent with Keller Williams, a real estate agent with Keller Williams, and plus you have your own handyman business, right?
Yeah, handyman. Yep.
Right.
Small jobs done with quality.
And as a landlord, though, you're also the head of an organization, or you're part of an organization?
I'm the vice president of the Metro West Property Owners Association.
And what is that?
Well, we're just a group. We're a group of landlords that gets together once a month in a few different towns: Cambridge, Waltham, Marlborough, and Worcester. And we get together for we have food, which is great, but we get together and we try to help each other become good landlords.
Okay. Dan, why don't you tell us all how you became a landlord, how many units you own, and then I'll ask you some specific questions about the state of being a landlord.
Well, my wife and I first rental property we purchased in 1994. We bought a 3-family in Watertown, and it just started from there. We had three family, and then we had trouble renting it in the late 90s. So I talked to this fellow, and he said, "Why don't you condo it?" And I said, "Okay." So we tried. We condoed it, and then we sold a couple of condos.
In other words, you turned each apartment into a separate condo.
Yeah, and once it's condo, you can sell them.
Right.
You can't sell them as apartments.
Right.
And so we sold a condo, and I bought a 4-family over in Marlborough, fixed it up, which I am a handyman, so I just I love doing that kind of work. Fixed it up and rented it. All of a sudden, there was this nice cash flow. Paid cash for that because we sold the condo. We did a 1031 transfer, which is a tax-deferred deal.
Right.
And so fixed it up, and then I found out you could get 70% of the assessed value of that in cash again. So I did it again and bought another 2-family, and then I just kept going with that kind of thing. And we get up to 11 apartments.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's what you own now?
That's it. Well, I have 9 now. We sold the 2-family in Framingham.
Okay. So what does it take to become a landlord? I mean, obviously, first thing you have to do is you have to find the right property.
Yeah. You want to find something that all the numbers work. So when you buy the property, after the mortgage and the taxes and the water and the utilities, if you have to pay them or the tenants pay them, that you make money. You want to make a little something on the top. And then you have to find the right tenants.
So Dana, in Keller Williams, we always talk about having and putting together systems to make life easier for yourself. So I imagine as a landlord, you have to have separate systems all the time, such as for maintenance or for collecting rents and that sort of thing. And I'm just kind of curious how you did that. How do you set that up, or do you do it just kind of catch as catch can? But with 11 apartments, I would think you'd have to have things pretty well organized.
Well, it started out, I was just winging it pretty much. I mean, I'd get the rents and I'd put some in certain banks. I'd have 2 different bank accounts, and because it was totally haphazard. But now, there are systems. I have certain, I collect all the rents and I put them into a certain account, which is just for mortgages, and pay all the, then I pay the taxes out of that account, and I keep money separate from my account and the different businesses and like that. Yeah.
And how did you learn about all these things?
I actually went to Trump University.
Did you?
Took a course. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
A course in Trump
and
University.
You didn't sue them?
No, it was fantastic. That's why.
Really?
That's why I have what I have. So that was kind of good because
you are the only one probably, but that was great.
Well, if you do what we learned,
Right.
it works.
Right.
If you don't do it, now you don't make the money.
I went to several real estate courses like that too, Kiyosaki and whatever.
Yep.
And when you speak to the people there and you say, well, how come everybody isn't doing it? He says, it's right there. It's all in front of you.
It's-
People just never take
It
the
was
time.
absolutely there, and once you just jump out of the box and do it, it just happens.
Right.
You know, and so and I'm still an investor. I mean, if I see something, I'm ready to buy another property and stuff because it does work. It's as long as you get the numbers right, there's a great cash flow.
Right. And you, in other words, leverage one property to buy another property.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What I really like about it though is it's of service. I'm really helping people, so it's really satisfactory for me to help different peoples in all the different businesses. Being handyman, definitely in rental property.
Well, that impressed me so much when we were talking about your coming on the show here. You had really impressed me by saying, I really want to tell about the benefits of being a landlord.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we hear all the time in real estate horror stories about landlords and tenant problems, and we always hear about problems, but to hear the benefits would be great.
All the problems are there, but all the problems can be worked out. And the benefits totally outweigh the problems. You know, I mean, there are some tenants that just, they're just bad tenants, and it's a struggle sometimes. But if we work things out, and I try not to make the tenants friends. I keep hearing you shouldn't make your tenants friends. I have a hard time with that because I like to socialize a lot.
Right.
But you keep your distance and.
Well, one of the things you had said to me though was that you enjoy. It's like you're caring for these people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
you're a family member almost that way.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I care about it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I care about them.
And I imagine you feel the same way about the building. You have a great respect for buildings, obviously, and enjoyment of them.
Yeah.
What do you do in terms of caring for a building?
Well, it's monthly maintenance. I mean, you have to keep the building up. You have to make sure that all the water systems are working, all the electrical systems are working. The smoke alarms you have to check, every 6 months. You have to change the batteries. You have to make sure everything's up to snuff. You have to totally maintain the outside. The
Do you do your
landscaping.
own?
I do. I do all the mowing.
Wow.
I have garages at each one, so I have a lawnmower in each one. I have a snow blower in each one.
So you're
each
putting
one
in
has
some
its own
sweat
rakes
equity.
and yeah. But it's fun. It's like therapy for me. I go mow a yard, go over there and mow another yard, rake a few places.
Right.
I have my son comes over and helps me all the time, so he can get some extra
Excellent.
side money.
And another thing you said to me was that it's actually a very, what do you say, a bit complex, but a small business. So you must have to have this business sense in order to keep things organized and to run things and to keep everybody happy all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's each property makes a certain amount of money, and every once in a while you come up where you need a roof. A roof's like $20,000.
Yeah.
So you have to budget for that, but it's it's easily done. It's easily done once you do it.
So tell me something, in this day and age, because of the rising prices with housing, because of the constant competition from people who are looking to become a landlord or extend their holdings, do you think it's possible to find properties to become a landlord with?
At this time, there are. I mean, you can find properties anywhere pretty much, but to make really good money, I mean, you kind of have to. It's investing. I would have a hard time right now buying multifamilies right now because everything's, top of the margin. Really, it's hard to buy a house right now at these prices, and after taxes and insurance and water bill. Making any money.
Right.
But, when the market turns around the other way, then you can do that again.
Well, that's always the mantra. You make your money on the buy side rather even than the sell side.
Or you can move out. You can move out, move west. So, you get out to Lowell, Worcester,
North Adams.
North Adams. I mean, you can get a beautiful multifamily out there for, under $100,000 and
Right.
then you could do all right. I mean, the rents aren't as high, but
Right.
that's fine.
That's a long way to go,
That's
though,
fine.
to fix a toilet.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You'd have to You'd have to have someone out there running maintenance.
Right. Is that one of your
I'm not-
tenants
I'm
giving
not-
you a call?
It's constant. I'm sorry, I'm gonna shut it off.
Yeah.
But
Well,
Sure.
let's flip this around
Sure.
then. And what are some of the problems that you have as a landlord? What are some of the issues that you have? I'm sure that there's building issues, like you're saying, you need a new roof or.
well, yep, there's that. Problems as being a landlord is so usually it usually comes down to rent. You know, people, you know, there are times where might lose a job. Tenant loses a job. I mean, what are they going to do? Most people live check to check.
Yeah?
So I have to work with them, and you know, hopefully they get a job soon. I sometimes let them go a little bit. I won't go too far. I can't afford it.
What's too far for you?
In reality, what I do is I always give, if somebody's 3 or 4 days late, I'll give them a notice to quit. It's a 14-day notice to quit. Even if we have a conversation, I'll give the notice to quit, even though I'm telling
So you're
them.
covered.
So I'm covered, because that sets the clock. That starts the clock. And if I don't give them a 14-day notice to quit and I wait till the 16th of the month, it's already a 30-day notice to quit. So I already lost a month. You know, if something happens. If
Right.
nothing happens, you can rip up the notice to quit. You know, it's just a clock. It just starts the clock.
So I'm kind of curious, how close to the margin are you as a landlord, you know, in terms of paying off your mortgage and making everything happen? If everybody didn't pay for a month, would you be under? I mean, would you go under? Would you?
If everybody,
Yeah.
all the apartments,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's like $10,000.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can cover it.
Right.
You know, but if you know, when I was first starting out, no, that's pretty drastic. That's
Yeah.
pretty drastic.
So you really need some great
Yeah,
tenants.
yeah, and I was really proud that I always, in the first 5 years of doing this, I didn't lose 1 month
Wow.
of any time of anything.
Wow.
Yeah, so if somebody actually moved out, I would have the next person move in the next day.
That's impressive.
Which was kind of cool. That was impressive, but that's falling apart right now.
Oh, really?
Well, one of the problems is I'm also a realtor, so I have tenants that want to buy a home. I mean, you know, everybody wants to buy a home at some time. So
Right.
I have a tenant, and they want to buy a home, so I lose a tenant.
Right.
You know.
And how do you find your tenants?
I go through Craigslist, and I get a lot of real estate agents that have tenants that they bring to me.
And you pay them a commission?
I pay them a commission, yeah. Or I go on Craigslist, and then I do my own survey. You know, I work with National Tenant Network, and I put in their social security and all their information, and I get a
To get a check on them.
I get a check, yeah, yeah.
And
And I do everybody evenly. Everybody, I have the same, but I want the rent not to be 25% of their income. So I want to check on their income.
that must be hard in this day and age.
It isn't easy.
Yeah.
It isn't easy, but you get 2 people, so 25, it's, you know,
Right.
50%, so that works.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So what do you do about tenant issues? For example, a tenant is noisy or a little bit too noisy or occasionally noisy, or, I mean, what do you do to keep things under control? If they're smoking, if their pet is yapping, do you allow pets?
I don't to start with, but everybody ends up getting a pet. And so, I mean, what are you going to do? You know?
Right. It's amazing how many people have pets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody likes a pet.
Right. And do they do damage to the
They
apartments?
can. They can. I've lost complete floors before, you know, where the dog
Urinates?
goes through the rug, through the floor, through, you know.
Yeah, it
like
turns
that.
the wood all black.
Yeah, yeah. Cats are bad. They can do it. They're disastrous.
You know, I had, when I was down in Westchester County, New York, and actually selling a house in the Bronx, it was an estate sale, and the owner told me that when he got notified of his aunt's death, she had 22 cats, and she had been dead for 2 weeks. He said they had to go in there with hazmat suits.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
Yeah.
right. It's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, animals can do damage.
But I work things out. I don't have a problem with people. I talk with them, and I mean, if they have the dog, okay, make sure you clean up after the dog, after them. And if they don't clean up, I tell them again, you have to clean up, or I'll give you a notice to quit. I mean, it's all different ways you can do that. I mean, I've evicted people.
You have?
Yeah. Usually it's for non-payment of rent.
And how complicated is that?
It's not too bad now, but they're starting to change it. There are bills coming down, and they're going to try to change it. Right now, I can do my own evictions without getting a lawyer. I can do it myself. And a lot of times, what happens is you don't really go to the judge anyway. You go to a mediator. They try to work you out into mediation. Mediation is great. One thing that's good about it is because when you go out to mediate, you get to know their hand, which is nice. Because then if
Meaning they give up all their information.
they give up all their information, and so you get to negotiate. What happens is they go into a room, they tell their story. Well, first I go into a room, tell my story. They go into a room, tells them story. They work it out. The mediators work it out between themselves, and they come back and talk to me, and we negotiate a fix for these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it does not work out and they won't pay the rent, or they won't give me a time to pay the rent, then we can go right back into the court. So it doesn't stop the time of the court case. And you get to see their hand. You go to the judge, you don't know what they're bringing.
Right.
You don't know if they have another lawsuit behind it or whatever. So
Right.
it's kind of nice to mediate.
Meaning that they might want to sue you for something that,
Sure.
whether it's fictional or not.
Yeah. And then the last eviction I did cost me $9,000.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How come?
Because the guy had no money, and I was selling the house. And the offer came in, and in the purchase and sale, the new owner wanted the first floor vacant.
Right.
And this fellow was in there,
Right.
and he didn't want to go.
Oh, so you had to pay him off.
I had to pay him off. I paid him first
Cash for keys?
and last at the next place he goes. Storage for 6 months times 2, because he had so much stuff, so I needed 2 units. And the movers.
Right.
So I paid everything for him.
Right. But it worked out, I guess.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, there was a cash offer, and it was, I paid pretty close to nothing 2 years prior to that, so I doubled my money, which was nice. It was in the budget,
Yeah. Good.
$9,000. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine that these changing laws and rules you also have to keep up with them and what's going on.
Well, that's what's good about being in the group I'm in. Anybody's interested in getting into rental property. The realtor who was helping me purchase the property, she said, if you're going to be a realtor, you have to go to this group. It's called Mass Landlords. If you look up masslandlords.net and look at events, we have one meeting a month in multiple different towns, and it's a bunch of landlords that just get together and talk about the best ways to rent properties and
Well,
own
it's good
properties.
to know.
Masslandlords.net.
Mass.net. Okay, great.
And then click on events at the top of the page,
Right.
and it'll tell you, and it'll bring up a calendar and tell you the different times and like that. You can give me a call too. I actually have some free tickets
Yeah,
for anybody who's
your number will
interested.
come back up on
Yeah.
the screen here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious because, everything goes in cycles, including the economy. So what happens when there's a bad economy and either people are losing their jobs or it's harder to rent the places? I mean, do you budget for that?
I don't have a problem with the rents. Actually, a bad economy it's a good time for investors to buy properties. So, as far as the rents are concerned, usually I don't have any. I haven't had any problems with the down times. My rents are low.
What's a low rent? Give me a town and the rent.
Marlboro. Okay, Watertown is $1,200 for a 1-bedroom. Good size, right?
That is low.
Yeah,
for
right
Watertown.
off of Mount Auburn Street.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really low.
Yeah, but
Hey, I'll take it.
everybody's
No.
happy? Yeah. Actually, we think maybe we'll be moving in soon. But Marlboro, it's $1,000 for a one-bedroom, two-bedroom, $1,100,
Right.
Really reasonable rents.
Very reasonable.
Yeah, which is nice,
That's
because,
great.
I mean, why gouge people,
Right.
They don't need.
So I'm kind of curious, what is your ideal tenant? I mean, I just stuck a few things on here. They had to be quiet.
Randy, I love what you put here, because this is the ideal tenant.
Yeah. Quiet,
Professional,
pays rent on
pays on
time.
time, doesn't complain, treats property like it's his or hers. Oh, that's fantastic. That's actually who I like. And every once in a while, you get someone like that, which is great.
Yeah.
Where I try to fix the place up. People really like the apartments when they come to look at the apartments, because I really do a nice job. It's all clean, painted, new painting, different places.
Right.
All new Venetians and sink and all that stuff.
Every time a new tenant comes
Yeah.
in? Wow.
But there are some people, I've had a few tenants that the place is better when they leave. It's perfect. I don't have to do anything. They just walk out, give me the keys, and the next people move in, they go, whoa, you really, really cleaned this place up. Beautiful.
Oh, that's nice.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's not often.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not often.
Yeah, well, that's what we hope for in real estate too. We hope for that buyer or that seller who's like the perfect person. It happens once in a blue moon, but
Yeah.
yeah, people.
But then there's a lot of times, so like I was saying before, when you get when a tenant wants to buy another house, and so I find them, this just happened, actually. I have two open apartments right now. Oh, yeah, by the way, I have a one-bedroom
Here we
in, yeah, I have a one-bedroom in Marlboro and a two-bedroom in Marlboro.
Okay.
Because I found properties for these people, and it was very nice.
Right.
Found a nice three-bedroom right down the street. But the problem is I lose a tenant,
Yeah.
so.
And how long does it take you usually to fill an opening?
It's fast. It's fast. The properties, I was lucky that when I purchased my properties, I know it's all about location.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually if you can find a place that's like 5 minutes to Starbucks, rents every time.
Really?
Yep.
It's Starbucks.
Absolutely.
That's funny. Or I imagine transportation's a big
Yep.
one.
Yep.
Schools
Transportation.
are important.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, but
Quiet.
what Starbucks does is they have this group of people that go around and finding great locations for their restaurants. So I let them do the work, and they have the best locations. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like McDonald's. Yeah.
McDonald's, perfect.
Yeah.
If there's a McDonald's next door, you're good.
Yep. They said they were not in the hamburger business, they were in the real estate business.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. So what kind of properties do you own?
I have in Watertown. We like I said, we purchased a three-family there. We condoed it, and my wife wouldn't let me sell. We have one condo left in there. She wouldn't let me sell.
In a big
it.
building, in a small
Yeah,
building?
it's a side-by-side, three-story side-by-side, and then one side is split again. So it's one side is a four-bedroom apartment, and then the right side is a two-bedroom apartment upstairs, and then a one-bedroom
And you own
apartment on the
half of
bottom.
it?
We just own the one-bedroom apartment.
Okay,
That's
I
what
see.
we have. We're going to keep that.
okay.
Um,
But there's all kinds. There's like mid-rises, there's high-rises, there's
Yep.
multifamilies,
Yep.
there's individual units, et cetera.
We just have multifamily. So we have in Marlboro I purchased a lot of property up there because I love the tax rate is great. The town is wonderful. And there's good people and the rents are high. And actually for some reason the prices of the houses never went too high. They are actually pretty good now, but on a down market, Marlboro is actually a great place to purchase.
Okay, good to
If
keep
you're
in
going to
mind.
be in landlord.
Yeah.
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 Or Worcester too. I just never went out. That's a little too far for me.
Right, I understand. So what are some of the main issues that come up as a landlord that you always have to be aware of? I imagine lead paint is a big one, especially if it's a family with a young child.
Yep. Yeah, lead paint's tough because you can't. We're in Massachusetts, and the whole state's all lead. You know, so all the old houses, if they were made prior to '78, you know, have lead in them, possibly,
Right.
probably. They're lightening the restrictions right now, though. You can do some encapsulants. You can. They're kind of lightening it, but what they did is they made the rate lower, so it's kind of a balance. Like children, I don't know, the level of poisoning is actually,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
is lower than it was before.
Right.
But you don't only have to check. You only have to stop the lead up to like 5
So you don't have to
feet down.
remove all the old paint,
Right.
and
Right.
you can actually just paint right over it.
Yep. In some
Right.
instances,
Okay.
they have an encapsulant paint.
I know this has come up for me as a realtor, security deposits, that landlords haven't put the security deposits in separate accounts. I imagine that comes up as an issue.
That's probably the biggest one.
Really?
It's security deposits are tough. I do not take the security deposit. I will not take a security deposit.
Really?
Absolutely not. I remember one time I was having an eviction, and I talked to the lawyer, and the lawyer said, "Do you have a security deposit?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Phew," because it's hard to, because of the regulations of a security deposit, it's hard to keep that in line. And I don't need that. I mean, you have to have another bank account, an escrow account.
Right.
With,
And send every year a
every
notice
year
of
has to have the
interest.
interest and like that. I don't do that. I don't need that. I mean, I don't see the point.
Right.
You know, I mean, well, the reason is because I'm a handyman. You know, I just go into my car and I can fill the holes and putty things and paint things. I'm going to fix it up anyway. There's nothing that they're really going to do that I'm going to need to collect from.
Well, I imagine you also have to be very careful about fair housing regulations, and you can't ask people where their income comes from.
Yep, so all sorts of restrictions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
incredible.
But the main thing is when you vet people that are coming to look at your apartments, you do every person the exact same way. So if someone calls up and they say, you know, do you take Section 8? Absolutely, I do. I always do. You know,
Right.
And you just vet everybody the same way. So I mean, they have to have a certain amount of income. They have to have
Right.
a job. They have to have some fairly good partial credit score. And even if if they don't, and it's because of a college debt, or actually young kids are, it's tough being young with college debt and like that. But I work with them.
Okay. Well, you had told me before that there was a problem, or because of the expense, the water expenses now, that becomes an issue for you or for landlords in general.
Well, the water bills in most of these old houses, the landlord pays the water bill. I mean, you can split.
Separate meters.
You can do separate meters, and you can have the tenants pay the water bills. Little expensive to get that done, and I mean, you could do that. But either way, even if their water bill was so high, it's still your problem.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, if they get
They leave
bill,
or whatever.
Yeah. So, if you really think about it, each apartment has got 1, 2, 4, minimum 5 valves for each apartment.
Oh,
So,
you mean like for the sinks?
yeah, you
and
get
the
hot and cold,
bathtub?
sink, hot and cold,
Right.
kitchen, you got bathtub, hot and cold, so actually 6, then you have toilets, 1 or 2 toilets, so you can have 7, 8 valves per apartment, and then 2 apartments, so you could have 14 valves, and one of these is going to be leaking.
Right.
I mean, they're all, they have to. They're just rubber valves and, little flappers and different things.
So you got to keep your eye on that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Dana, we're running out of time. I'm sorry.
Oh.
We could talk for
I could
hours.
talk about this forever. Yeah.
Well, you obviously enjoy it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Why don't you tell people your number, how to get in touch with you, because you also are a realtor and deal in a certain area. So just give your information to everyone.
All right. Well, my phone number is 617-959-1554. My email is dfogg128@gmail.com. Call or email me at any time.
Well, I'm sure that you'll get some calls about people who are interested in becoming a landlord. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I will walk you right through it. Yeah, absolutely. I'll support you. And then you absolutely have to come to our meetings, masslandlords.net.
Okay.
And give me a call. And
Thank you
you're welcome.
so much.
Thank you.
And thanks for all the information.
Thank you.
Okay.